opinion, Jake. The tribe has spoken.
Fuck you, Kevin.
Aw, fuck you too, sweetie.
I'm JJ, one of the original Tribe of Nerds members. You can catch me on Marvel, Pokemon, and other gaming podcasts.
What up? It's Josh, resident superhero nerd, but I also dabble in the occasional super villain as well.
Some may know me as the Chaos Gremlin, but really I'm just Joe King.
Pikachu, use Volt Tackle! Good job, Pikachu!
On the Tribe of Nerds.
Don't mess with Echo.
Yeah, clearly not. This is a very interesting way of putting it together.
Throw a rock at him.
Did you notice he was from Canada just like Ethan?
Yeah. I knew I felt off about him. And this is where he talks with me.
That is not a look you want to see on Saeed's face.
Yeah. Oh my. That was really good. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. Kristin, Michael, and I are here for Season 2, Episode 7 of Lost, the first 48 days. Super excited to talk about this together. Unfortunately, Greg and Kevin could not join us, but they had any thoughts, they did send them to us, so we'll talk about that. But
Kevin said, fuck John Locke.
He was not even in the episode. Like, the one time he wouldn't have to see him.
Yeah. But yeah, your guys' thoughts on the first 48 days?
This episode is just, I always try to like remember back to when I watched it so I can kind of resonate with you a little bit, Jake. I remember like we just left from obviously the best day ever. So sorry, Michael, I'm going to continue to throw it in your face. But we did just leave the best day ever when Shannon died. So this episode, I remember literally the next week, or I don't know if we had a break or anything like that, but like we start off with the ocean, and I'm sitting there like, what's happening here? And like for a second, because like nothing, like you can like if you study it now, like now I know where to look because I've watched it so many times. You can see it coming in, but like you're sitting there staring at this ocean for like the longest time, and you're like, what is happening? And then all of a sudden the plane comes down, and you're like, oh, okay, can't wait, and you just like jump right in because you're so like. We wanted to know their story for so long, and we know that we're about to get it. And so I know for me, like watching this, other than the whole sitting there for like 5 minutes, like trying to figure out what the hell we're looking at.
I was wondering that too.
Yeah.
Like, what?
No, as soon as I realized what was happening, I'm like, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think I remember being a bit disappointed. That thing of when you're so invested in the story of what's happening, and you're waiting a week for an episode, and we just left off, like you say, with Shannon dying. I was like, desperate for this episode to come out, and then it's another one of those ones where, okay, we're going to go back, and kind of like they did with the stuff down the hatch at the beginning of the season where we see the Desmond scene with the gun to Locke's head like 3 times. It's that similar thing where it's like, okay, now we're going back to see their side. But that was just because I was so invested in what was going on in present time, and then like over several watches, it's become an episode it's so good, and it's a really interesting idea to like truncate this 48 days, and I love like the days popping up and like the growing sense of like tension and paranoia, and like it's also like a really unique soundtrack that would not usually get on Lost, like this just drum beat throughout it, just like as the tension rises and rises and the paranoia. It's a really good episode and a great way to kind of give a bit of backstory on the Tailies. Like Jake, you was talking about like Cindy, like we didn't really know her. We know little bits about these people now that they're a part of the show. It's a good way to like, these are the characters and this is what they're about.
Yeah. I wasn't disappointed. I was really enjoying this episode and the uniqueness to it, and also getting to know these characters a little bit more. I can't wait to talk about Mr. Echo. I have some really good thoughts on him. I loved him in this episode, but I'll save that for when we get into it. But yeah, I mean, I definitely saw some things, like a couple things. Like, we'll talk about Goodwin, we'll talk about the radio. Like, I recognized things, and then like was able to piece it together based on how like characters were acting and whatnot. So like I was pretty amazed at how good like the storytelling was for this episode.
It's like a satisfying episode of like, this, okay, that links to that. It's like a fun episode for that.
Yeah.
Yes. I have a lot of fun facts about this episode. One I just learned myself and I'm really, really excited for, but I'm going to wait for that one. It's going to be last because it's like mind blown on this one. But the fun facts that I had, so this is actually the first episode that we see where it's only on the island. We didn't get anything else like other than strictly island. Stayed with Island the entire time, no flashbacks, those types of things. It's also the first extended episode by 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes longer than any other episode that we had. Makes sense because there was a lot that happened that they had to pack. We've had a whole season and a few episodes of the other ones, and they're going to pack it in one episode. It's a little crazy. The numbers, lots of times the numbers there, obviously right off the bat in the title, 4 and 8, the other 48 days, right in the title. Donald, the leg guy, is the fourth to die. There are 23 survivors. And so those ones are obviously prominent there. This other one, I say that I didn't know this, but I recognized it when I'm watching, like when I watched it for the first time. But it was kind of fun to see it be portrayed and like actual people acknowledge this. Echo, we know, like we see him grabbing the Bible and things and you know, writing things on his staff and whatnot. His 40 days of silence were to kind of replicate the temptation of Jesus in the 40 days of the desert. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like I remember thinking that. I grew up in it, like going to church, school and stuff, like, you know, all through my life. So I kind of resonated with him, like with the 40 days. Because they make sure to actually say the 40 days. Like, it's not like, man, you took forever to talk, or like they made sure to point out that it was 40 days. So I remember thinking that back when I watched it, but it was just fun to see that. All right, now I'm about to blow your mind. Michael, if you know this, I'm going to be so upset because I'm like, like I want to start off the conversation just on this theory alone. So it's apparently a popular fan theory, not so popular that I've never seen this theory ever. But the corpse that they see right off the bat that they're showing kind of being pushed up onto the beach is face up, which means that he's been that it's been decomposing for a while, because when you're first dead and drowned, you're face down. Obviously, the gases and everything cause you to rise. The theory is this is Christian Shepherd. Obviously, he wasn't in the casket, and when it came apart and the casket was empty, that's his body washed up on the shore. And
like face?
You do see the face, and it greatly resembles the actor that plays Christian.
Oh, okay.
Really? Yeah. I've never heard that.
Like, I will be going back as soon as we have this podcast to actually like pause on the face so I can go look, but like, it makes sense. Like, that's an amazing theory, because like we do never know where his, like we said that back when Jack found the casket and stuff at the caves. We're like, where's the body? Where's the body? A little weird. So it's kind of interesting.
I think the cargo would be at the back, right? So it makes sense that. Oh no, but then the coffin.
But I mean, he did split in half and like trajectory, you know, of everything. So if it opens up, his body's flying. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not saying it's like true or anything, but it's definitely a theory that I've never thought before. And I'm like, because like we thought about it back when he finds a casket of like, where's the body? But like we never really discussed it again. And I'm like, oh my God, mind blown right now.
That is crazy.
So yeah, fun fact.
Put a pin in that, because I got a theory, but we'll have to discuss it in the spoiler section.
Okay, pinning it down. So I'm ready to jump into this. This one's gonna be hard. So I'm gonna kind of let you guys take over and interrupt me, because the beauty of the flashbacks is we can kind of like, here's the island and we get a flashback and we can stop and talk about this. this is just continuous.
Right.
So I know kind of where I would normally stop, but if you guys want to stop me on something, just interrupt me, because this one's harder to have those gaps.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But obviously we start this episode right off, like where we mentioned you're staring at the ocean like for a good minute. It's you sit there going like, is it broken? Like, did my TV turn off? Like, obviously we're watching it not how we were, Michael, but then all of a sudden you start seeing things trickle down. Then obviously the plane crashes, and you realize very quickly that this is the Taili's story. Michael said it right off the bat, like landing in the water in a fuselage. Like, I mean, I just can't imagine being so turned around and like discombobulated in that moment, just trying to get out of that fuselage, first of all, let alone anything else. So right off the bat, Michael's like, they're screwed, which they were. Obviously there's not as many survivors over here as there were on the other side. But we do see Ana Lucia come up out of the water. She makes it to shore. This is where we see that corpse that we were just talking about. We're seeing other people come on shore and things like that. People are trying to get their mind right. Ana Lucia sees a kid, which Jake, right off the bat, you're like this is once they get the little girl on the beach here, you were like, teddy bear, remember that thing. But this little boy is like, my sister. Ana Lucia obviously goes in, or Echo goes in and saves this little girl. Ana Lucia brings her back with CPR. But we're starting to see, okay, we now know the teddy bear here. We've seen this with Jen and Echo.
A couple episodes ago.
Yep. So like, I love that you caught that right away. Like you did. It barely came on screen. You're like, teddy bear.
Yeah, I was. It's funny just like noticing stuff and paying such close attention. Like, I feel like it's a good thing, like knowing going in that Lost is something that I need to pay attention to, and then I'm just hyper focused on that. I did want to talk about Echo here because to me, he reminded me here immediately of Black Panther of T'Challa, Chadwick Boseman, and like, I mean, I guess if Black Panther came out in the early mid 2000s, then this actor could have definitely played T'Challa. I feel like, I just feel like he had some of the same like characteristics that T'Challa would have had in this type of situation. The accent, and so I don't know. I could kind of draw parallels between T'Challa and Echo here.
Yeah,
Mr. Echo is like a fascinating character because he's so imposing. He's so intimidating, just like physically, and in the actors, facial expressions in his performance is so good. But then you see this kind of sweet side to him. Yeah, and at the beginning, he's filling the Jack role, so is Ana Lucia, but he's pulling people out of danger, he's trying to help, and I just love the complete different dynamic of how our main characters survived the crash, and then the chaos of this version of it where they're in the ocean. Like our survivors were able to build shelters from the fuselage, from the parts of the airplane that they had on the beach. They were able to get luggage, clothes, medical equipment, things that were on the plane to help them. Sawyer got a booze cart. These guys, everything they had is in the ocean. They have nothing. This is like our guys on the beach are playing New School Survivor, and these guys are playing Old School Survivor.
Yes, I
100%. I mean, there's a lot that happens just in this opening scene. We see that, I mean, you got Ana Lucia saving this little girl. An amazing moment by Echo too, that he sees this little boy terrified of seeing his sister dead. He's like, come on, it's okay. She's going to be fine. And then after all that, then like, obviously people are trying to assess. We have Libby like setting the dude's leg. We've got like, and she's so, but also I love that she's like, oh, it's not that bad. Like, this might be your tagline, Libby, because you just said this to Sawyer about like his arm. But then Mr. Echo, like, literally, he's like, watch the kids, I need to go do something. And he goes and pulls out everybody out of the plane to have respect for them, to be like, we're going to bury them. We do see later on that they have their own graveyard there. And so I just think that that's another above and beyond moment for Mr. Echo, and just a beautiful moment, which then comes in to be a big, huge thing for Bernard, because that night Bernard goes over to him and is like, I heard you were the one pulling the bodies out of the water. Was any of them African American? Because we know he's talking about Rose. And he's like, no, but I mean, that doesn't just mean that she's okay. She could be drowned down there in the plane.
I love on Bernard as well, the contrast between Bernard and Rose, where like Rose is absolute no doubt in her mind. Bernard is fine. She is not grieving. She's not worrying. She's saving him chocolate. She totally believes that. And then Bernard is worried. He's emotional. He doesn't know where she is, and he's more, I guess, kind of pragmatic about it or realistic about it, and doesn't have that faith maybe. So it's like an interest in the opposite sides of that couple there.
They're their own man of science, man of faith.
Yeah.
But I mean, the main thing for Bernard, because this introduces us to Goodwin. So out of nowhere, Goodwin runs up, help. There's somebody in the jungle, and Ana Lucia takes off with Goodwin to see Bernard in the tree. Okay, like these people really did have it. Like Bernard is still locked in his seat in a tree. Like just insanity to me that like some of this is going on for this side compared to what our other side. And here we went all of season 1 like, oh my gosh, these poor people. They look what they had. Like Michael points out, they had booze, they had pillows, they had all kinds of things. But that leads us to our first night where, all of a sudden we hear this like grunting, all these kinds of weird things, to where they run off and check this out. And Mr. Echo has now killed 2 people covered in blood. Do not mess with Mr. Echo. Michael said it in the episode. Do not mess with Mr. Echo. But we're trying to figure out, okay, who are these 2 people? Obviously, the next morning, they're assessing the situation. Nathan runs up, which we're going to get to Nathan here, too. He runs up. We're missing 3 people. I think he said 3 people. I can't remember. But we're missing some people. The curly-haired, he runs through all those people. There's nothing on these people. They're in dirty clothes. They're barefoot. Nothing in their pockets. Who are these people, and like what is about to happen, and why are we missing people? Like already off the bat, and we know from that little bit that Ana Lucia has talked with them that this is just the beginning to all the terror that they faced, and it was not fun for them over here on the tail section.
One thing on the kidnappings as well. So what's like just a theory of mine when it comes to this episode? This happens quick. We saw on our side of things that Ethan is there for a while. It's 15 episodes in before he takes Claire and Charlie. But people aren't being kidnapped. People aren't being dragged off. Here, like night 1, night 2, they're coming and they're dragging these people away. So I remember being convinced that however the layout of this island is, this tail section is nearby Others Central. Like wherever these guys are, it seems to be more closer distance that they can get to them so quickly and be taking people in great numbers. Like we see multiple others coming into camp, whereas our group just had Ethan.
Well, and I think it also brings up a point too, which we're going to get to here in a second here, after 14 days, because we know they come back 2 weeks. But it's interesting because Ana Lucia finds them with a list. So it's like already off the bat, they know who they're going to take. We also hear Goodwin talk about it later, which I know we'll get to talking about it. But yeah, it's interesting to see how, like, where that dynamic, like why to choose already here. Like you would think, like, why is that? Like, is it because of the proximity? Are they close to this? Is there another reason? Are these people worthy of being kidnapped, or these people are not? Like, you know what I mean? Because you hear Goodwin saying like kids are fine and these people weren't on the list, and all these things. So a lot of questions being asked of why the tailies were targeted for sure, which we have no idea. It's because thank you, Lost, for leaving us on these cliffhangers all the time. We see that Donald has now died. This is day 2. Echo's now not talking, which is, Ana Lucia brought it up. She's like, I liked you better when you weren't talking in the last episode. And I mean, Nathan's acting a little sketch. Nathan is just, you're like, Nathan, we all know about Ethan. They don't know about Ethan, but you're giving us Ethan vibes, Nathan. You're being a little weird.
They did a great job casting both Goodwin and Nathan to both have, like, similar look to Ethan, like that you will suspect Nathan, and then later on as it's kind of unraveling, you can tell Goodwin is not all there either. And so like then you're like, okay, it makes sense, these guys have the similar look to Ethan, and like it made so much sense, and they did such a good job like casting them and like makeup and all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
And then there's like the paranoia of it all. Like Nathan didn't do anything wrong. He was just kind of a prickly guy.
Yeah.
He ended up in a terrible situation because they're all stressed. This is a very stressful time. He just wasn't the most sociable guy, and unfortunately, it put a big target on him.
Yeah. Well, he was just easy for Goodwin to blame for a bit, and then as soon as he didn't serve his purpose, then he killed him. So.
You know what I find funny, though, that you bring that up, Jake? Goodwin actually never did blame him. It was everybody else, and Goodwin...
Everybody.
Yeah. What Nathan did not, and I'm going to make a joke about this, and it might actually be true, so I don't know, and I'm not making fun of anybody that suffers with this, but he was gone to the bathroom for 2 hours by himself, which is where they start getting sketched, because he comes out of the jungle, and she's like, hey, we had a system for that. What are you doing? Like, and then literally that night they come. And then he brings up later in the pit that he was in the bathroom. That's why they didn't see him on the plane. Is he struggling with IBS? Like, this is like where I'm wondering. Like, this is like, I feel like this is a medical condition here.
Well, and it's interesting because we knew Charlie was in at least one of the bathrooms. So obviously there had to be another bathroom in the back, but Charlie was getting off on drugs in the front bathroom.
Right.
And so it's like immediately you're kind of like, well, I guess there could be a bathroom in the back, but you're already like, okay, that's a bit sketchy because we know Charlie was in there. So
maybe he was doing crack in the back.
Right. He
heroin at one end.
He also is doing the heroin.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but also, I mean, it leads up to, which kind of this whole episode up until we find out that it's not Nathan, does not help his case, because literally that night he's gone for 2 hours. That night they come back, and this is where we see a plethora of them come into this camp, and it's terrifying. You're like, 1, 2, 3. You're like, start counting, right? You're like counting the feet. But they take 9 people, and they took the kids for sure. People also, I will love to get your guys' opinion on this. I know a lot of Lost fans claim that they were going to take Ana Lucia here. I don't think that was the case. She was running after the kids and got into the scuffle with the girl that she kills at the rock. But there are Lost fans that think they were trying to take Ana Lucia. What are your thoughts on that?
Ooh, it's possible. I mean, Goodwin is gonna say later, we'll get to it, but like the fact that I guess at first they were going after like the athletic people and the big guys. First off, they weren't able to get Echo, and at one point Ana Lucia does get like tackled by one of them. So I mean, it is possible that they were going for her. But I don't know. I think they were more focused on the 4 big guys. So. Yeah,
I could see maybe we don't know how much of a line of communication that Goodwin has with his people. And, you know, if he's given them like daily information, or, you know, Ana Lucia has come forward as the leader of this group, and she's really convinced about they've been infiltrated. Like at that point, I do think she becomes the biggest threat to their staying undercover. So it would make sense to try and take her out. Maybe they were not trying to kidnap her. Maybe it was just like, if we kill her, we're good. It could have been a straight up hit, because it seemed like, I think they were probably trying to kill Mr. Echo as well rather than take him. It seemed like a bloody battle. Maybe they were trying to drag him off. I don't know. But yeah, I could see them seeing Echo and Ana Lucia as the people that need to go if this is going to be a successful mission.
Yeah. No, I mean, I always just argue. I'm like, she was running after the kids at that moment. We also know that, I'm bringing it up next, that she finds the list on this person that she kills with the rock. I think she would have been like, oh man, I was on this list. And she doesn't bring this up. So
yeah, true.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but it is possible. It is, like you said, Michael, they could have been trying to kill her just to eliminate her. They could have been trying to get her. So yeah, definitely a major thing. This is day 15. I love that they kind of start putting these days in so you can kind of get this idea. But this is where they decide to leave the beach. Also, another thing that did not help Nathan is he was like, well, we shouldn't leave this beach. We need to keep the fire burning and all these things. And to which Ana Lucia is like, I thought you said we need to keep the fire burning, kind of looking at Goodwin because he agreed with Nathan there.
But then also, that's so interesting because Nathan is kind of right. It's the exact same argument was happening on our side, and Saeed was saying, like, we're not moving to the caves, we're staying on the beach because the signal fire, we need to keep that going. It's a totally fair and reasonable argument, but unfortunately the paranoia is so tense that it's like everything he says is making it worse for him, even though he's not really doing anything wrong.
Yep, I agree. I mean, so that they do decide to leave the beach at this point because they know where they are. They keep coming back and stealing people. So, I mean, yeah, like, good idea to leave. They do. Here's the thing, too. I wish I was writing them down better than I was with the numbers. But we know that then they stopped for water in that ravine there. I think Bernard said they had been walking for 3 days straight at that point. And so we know that there's 3-day gap there. And they're all just worn out. And Nathan's like, I'm done. Putting my bag down. I'm not moving anymore. Again, Nathan, like, totally understandable. It's 3 days straight and fresh water and all these things. Not helping your case right now because they're all very, like, skeptical of you. Which we do see Anna starting to dig this hole. We have Libby come up to her and she's like, I'm not feeling so great about Nathan. And Lucy is like, me either, which is why I'm digging a hole. It'll be fine. We're going to figure this out. And again, we keep pointing this out. The difference in the two sides here, because they never once thought anything of Ethan until they start in the manifest. They were not even, it was because he was messing with Claire, but that was so far in, you know what I mean? It's like, they're already skeptical of the guy like day 2 because he went to the bathroom too long. It's crazy. So it's poor Nathan indeed. Obviously, Anna does succeed in her giant pit, which is where we get the pit that we later see Sawyer and Jen and Michael go into. But she throws Nathan in. She starts to interrogate him over a couple days here. She wants to ask him questions. This is where he brings up, she's like, where were you on the plane? I didn't see you from. Where were you traveling from? Where do you live? I did make the connection. Like, he said, I'm from Canada. Ethan also said he was from Toronto, but then Hurley's like, Canada, I love Canada. You know, it's interesting because they're doing these subtle hints to make us think Nathan is 100% he is the spy, the other in this group. And
you mentioned that in the reaction. I genuinely haven't watched this show about 20, 30 times. I don't think I'd ever connected that. And it's such a fun little way for the writers to be like, maybe Canada is their cover story. Maybe they know things about Canada for some reason. Like, if you're called, say, you're from Canada. It's such like a fun little thing to just misdirect you there. And I love how no nonsense Anna Lucia is. Like, Nathan's just sat doing something on his knees, and she just comes and kicks him in the head. It's like, straight away.
It's funny.
Well, I love Bernard too. That moment, he's like, "Hey, Anna." She's like, "Don't have time for you, Bernard."
Yeah, it is interesting too because, like, you think Nathan's just playing hard to get all the information out of him, like he's not breaking, but no, he genuinely was telling the truth, and just and so it was just unfortunate with everything that went down.
Yeah, you would be pissed off at this woman.
Yeah,
like, he knows he hasn't done anything wrong.
Right, exactly.
You keep accusing him, and now she's kicked him in the head and hide him in a pit. Like, you're gonna be pissed.
Right. I ain't telling you shit.
Yeah.
Which also, I mean, should we see her come back the next day? She's obviously she's not giving him anything. She's not giving him water, to obviously break him down. Maybe she should take some lessons from Saeed if they can ever become friends after what just happened. But she should learn how to interrogate a little bit better because Nathan's not budging. But she comes back and she just loves also throwing rocks because she sees Nathan hiding something, which she throws a rock at him and he gets up. And somebody has fed him. She comes and asks everybody, who's fed him? We're trying to get answers. We're trying to find these kids. And Echo just, like, walks up. Again, still not talking. He's like, what, bitch? Yeah, I give him a banana. Like, who cares? Like, we have to, like, we're not those type of people. We also see Goodwin here where he's still very much, you see him being on Anna's side. You see them growing closer and closer together. Where he was like, maybe we should free him. And she's like, no, like, we need to find out what happened here. Like, we're doing this for a reason. But people are starting to be like, Anna, you are getting a little cray-cray. Like, you're starting to get us a little bit worried here. Because we see all the looks on their faces, too. Like, oh, Anna, you're being a little questionable. We get what you're doing, but are you going too far? Of course, that night, lo and behold, Goodwin rescues Nathan. out of the goodness of his heart. Just kidding. This is like the worst bait and switch I think I've ever seen. I was like, oh, okay. Like, they're all really worried. Oh, and before I can even finish my thought, he's already killed this guy.
Yeah, just snapped his neck.
Right. It's more of like, I'm sitting there like, oh, that was nice of good. Oh. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I can't even get the whole like thought out. But yeah, so he does free him to kill him, which then the next morning, here's where I'm like, Goodwin. Don't watch me sleep. Like, red flag, creepo. Like, if I turn over and you're staring at me, we have problems.
That was wild. No, as soon as he killed Nathan, then I was like, okay, something is actually up with Goodwin. And then, yeah, turning over, seeing him staring at you with like a really creepy smile. Like, yeah, then I was like, okay, Goodwin is not who he's claiming to be.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I watching this for the first time, you are starting to now maybe switch it from Nathan to Goodwin because we're getting a little bit more information. But I think for me, I'm still not sold on Goodwin either at this point because of the fact I'm looking at my head of like, don't kill the guy. Like, I get where you're trying to like let him off and go to the beach and whatever, here's some food. But then I'm like, maybe he killed him because like, what if Anna stumbles upon him again? And like, she's like obviously proved that she's willing to do anything. She's talking about cutting off his finger, all these things. So I kind of was like, I don't get the rationale, but I'm like, I'm not quite there yet. Like, I could see like, I was going to let him go, but if she stumbles upon him, it's going to be even worse because then she's going to think he escaped, right? So I'm like, I'm not there yet, but I was getting there. Michael, what about you? Were you all on Goodwin at this point when he killed Nathan?
Yeah, I missed the episode where they first started talking about Goodwin. So coming into this, I couldn't remember if they talked about the context in which they talked about Goodwin in Is It Unfound when they're like in everything that happened with Goodwin.
Yeah.
They should,
I couldn't remember if they give us like context or not. But I think especially they did a good job with this where Goodwin and Nathan are the two characters that are no longer part of this group that we are now following. So we know that both of these characters aren't going to be there come day 48 when we catch up. So is Goodwin like, I thought maybe he's going to try and help Nathan. It's going to be the thing where you've misjudged, Anna was right, and Nathan kills Goodwin, and it's like a tragedy that Goodwin was trying to do this good thing. And then, there's the switch of, no, he's just going to snap his neck. Reminded me of The Walking Dead, or The Walking Dead reminded me of this, I guess, in season 2 with Shane, where he like frees someone just to snap his neck. Spoiler alert for The Walking Dead, sorry.
So sorry. We don't have a separate spoiler section for that shit. No, just kidding. I think for me too, I think the reason why I still had a little bit of like, I don't know mentality on this is because the very last episode that we had, when they're in the jungle and they're like, we don't know what happened to you. What, like, why you guys are acting like assholes. She's like, remember Goodwin? Like, she makes it out to be like they harmed Goodwin. Like, you know what I mean? Like, remember what they did to us? Remember Goodwin? Like, the way that she words that is you think that Goodwin is. So while it's starting to be a little bit more questionable, I'm not completely sold on Goodwin at this point. So I think, again, it's Lost giving you a little bit more to, like, keep you, like, going, okay, maybe, but, like, completely still not giving it away until later, They're
really good at doing that, like the thing with Goodwin, and then also going back to Exodus where they're going out to the Black Rock and Danielle's like the Dark Territory when Montand lost his arm, and everyone's like, wait, what about Montand losing his arm? Like, that's when Asta's like, I'm out of here. This was all before I had learned about Montand losing his arm. It's like these little details.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, this also prompts Annalicia to, like, very rational thinking of he escaped because the others came and found him and got him out. And she's like, we've got to move. They know where we are. This is day 24. So we're looking at, like, day 15 is when, or day 18, I should say, is when they got to this spot. And so now this is day 24. And then day 27 is where they find this hatch. I love, again, this attention to detail. They open up the door and it says quarantine, just like our hatch has. And they go in and we see that this is obviously Dharma. We see a different emblem than the hatch that we have. It's Dharma, but it's not the same symbol on there. They go in and they find, obviously, boxes. There was a Bible in there. We had a glass eye. We've got, radio. We've got a lot of different things happening in this box. What is the station? This looks nothing like our hatch. Our hatch has got record players and kitchens and showers and all these things, and this is just like hole in the side of a hill, like nothing to it. Jake, we got very briefly their hatch when obviously they brought in Jen, Michael, and Sawyer. What are your thoughts on this hatch and obviously now this Dharma thing?
Yeah, I was wondering about the things they found. I don't remember when it was said, but has the glass eye been mentioned before? Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. I don't know. I might be thinking of Pirates of the Caribbean then. But yeah, so it's interesting. I'm assuming we'll get some sort of explanation for what this station is now too. We know what the first one was obviously for with Desmond's hatch, and we won't know what this one is about for now, but I thought this was really, really interesting. So
I think like Lost does such a good job of just drawing you in to be like, just with little things of what is going on. I remember the glass eye was something that stuck with me for ages, being like, where'd this glass eye come from? Why is there a glass eye in a box? It's probably the most random thing that you could think to pull out of that box. Mm-hmm. It's like they were thinking, what's something random? Glass eye.
Right. I also will let you know this station is called the Arrow. Obviously, there is an arrow on it. It's called the Arrow. And sorry to tell you, Jake, you will never see the Arrow again.
What?
Never again. Bye-bye, Arrow. That was it.
So
I think in terms of like some kind of answer, it seems to be just what it seems on the face of it, where it's just some kind of storage area. Okay. We see like the boxes and things in it, but yeah, it's not an area we come back to.
Okay.
Yeah, sadly to tell you, I thought about, I contemplated letting you sit here for the rest of the series going, when are we going back to the Arrow? But I'm like, I'm not that cruel.
Okay.
I already laughed at Shannon dying today. I can't be that cruel.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen the Arrow and we've seen the Swan, right? Is the main hatch.
Is our hatch, yes. So obviously they grab this radio, they go right outside, like any people that have been stranded on an island for 27 days, and turn it on. This is where I was like, Goodwin, okay. Now he quickly snatches this radio and is like, it's blocked by the hills, gotta go. But still, we know with Saeed that they had to get to higher ground as well. But he snatched that way too quickly, and that's where I was really like, okay, Goodwin, okay. You're not acting like a normal person. If you're a survivor, you're wanting to get off this island. So Anna picks up very quickly with a very snappy, I'll go with you. And he's like, no, get it all set up. She's like, we can do it together. We'll all set up house. We're all a family. Let's go. It'll be fun. And he's like, oh, shit. Okay, come on. And
I'm curious when she put it all together, because we see that look on her face. Yeah.
Yeah. They never do it. I was going to bring this up like with you. So, it's a perfect spot, Michael. Like, I want to feel like, Jake, did you have a thought of when Anna Lucia picks this up? Because we do never get an answer of what made Anna Lucia finally go, it's Goodwin.
I didn't pick it up. I just assumed because he was kind of acting creepy. So, but maybe it was something else and I just did not catch on. What I did catch on to as well, obviously, was as soon as they pulled out the radio, I'm like, because it's Oceanic Flight 815, I remembered when Boone got into contact with the other survivors of 815. So I was like, okay, so this is where we're going to hear Boone's voice on the other end.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you this. We don't ever find out. And I think it's one of those as writers, then maybe it's one of those things that we don't need to they had 48 days. We had a season and 6 episodes to kind of learn the things about our survivors. They threw all of 48 days into one episode, and I'm sure they had to pick and choose the things that they showed. Michael, do you have any thoughts or like feelings on when you feel like she may have figured it out?
I guess it has to be after the whole thing with Nathan, because my feeling was like when she's having that conversation about the radio, she is already convinced that it's him at that point. Like, I don't think it was a realization in that moment. She seemed very, no, I'm coming with you. Like, I see what you're trying to do here. I'm going to take you off and deal with this situation. So yeah, it has to be sometime in those previous days between Nathan dying and finding the hatch where and it's one of those things, maybe you don't really need a specific scene, because she does give you her rationale behind it of like, okay, she remembers, okay, he wasn't in the water, he came out of the jungle, he found Bernard. I think it was probably one of those things where everything just started to piece together in her head, and she gets to this point, and like you say, we're going through the broad strokes of these 48 days, so maybe it's not something you need to have a scene where she's like, oh, it's him. And I think it probably works better for the tension of that scene that we're going to get to with Goodwin as well, that we don't know for sure if she knows, how she knows, when she knew. So I do think it was probably the best decision for it.
I agree with that too. So we know that there were 3 days in between this moment. I wonder if because we start seeing him kind of unravel here a little bit. Obviously, he lets Nathan out. He wants to. I mean, that was already bad. Like, you brought up freeing Nathan, and then Nathan's gone. But like, it didn't seem that Anna Lucia picked up in that moment. She was like, "They found us. We have to go." Yeah. I'm wondering if, because we do know that obviously they were getting lists of these people, if maybe in those like 3, like she saw him coming back into camp or something, like a Nathan did, like where he went to the bathroom, if she, you know what I mean? If he slipped up somewhere, because we did start to see him unravel. But it is one of those things where it's like, I want to know the answer, but like, it's actually not important to the story because it still carries on without it. So I just wonder, like, obviously we'll never know. We don't ever get into it, but it's like, and it's fun because then that allows us as an audience to kind of put in what could have happened. Like, I've always thought that was probably, like, we saw him starting to unravel. Maybe he slipped up. You know what I mean? Like, serial killers slip up or things like that, you know?
They do. I found it, I was, like, a little nervous when she, like, willingly handed him the knife to cut the apple. Like, why didn't he just take the opportunity to use a knife and stab her, like, at that moment if he was already going to try to tackle her off the mountain? Like, I feel like that was a really dumb decision by Goodwin. So
that's where it's interesting, because we don't know these people. We don't know their intentions. Like, was his goal to kill her? What, you know, the confrontation happens. She lunges at him. Like, what is his goal? And that's what's so interesting about the others, is they're taking people that, I mean, they hung Charlie, so that they're not above killing, but they seem to be only killing certain people.
Right.
We have, it's jumping ahead, you haven't actually covered it yet, Kristin, but that whole conversation where he says, you know, he wasn't a good person, and they're taking people that are good people. That seems to be their rationale. And that's fascinating in itself. How do they know these people? How do they know who to take?
Yeah, if we wanted to jump into that, my thoughts on that now, like, I mean...
Yeah, it's literally the next section I was going to bring up. So, yeah, definitely do it.
So, it's so interesting to be like, okay, yeah, these people, like Michael said, they know who is good and who isn't. And it's interesting looking back at the original group. So, they don't... Like, they find some of the other people back there questionable as well. I mean, I know we've seen, like, even Jack make questionable decisions in his backstories. So I guess, yeah, they're taking people who are too pure and haven't made a single, like, questionable decision in their life, I guess. I don't know. It's very interesting. I guess if that's been the rationale all along, and that, you know, why they haven't taken certain people from, like, the original group.
And if it's like a cult-like thing, like taking the kids and people they can, you know, bring in and indoctrinate, maybe if it's a cult-style thing. Yeah.
I have a couple theories on this, too. I mean, we do know from our side, Charlie said they only wanted Claire. Like, he makes it like they only wanted Claire. But also... I find it very interesting because we talk about Goodwin, like, Jake, when you were like, why didn't he take the first stab? Like, obviously, if he's feeling like Anna Lucia's onto him and things. we see them like on their trek up there, her starting these questions of like, why do you think they're taking us, Goodwin? He's like, I don't think they're attacking us. And he's like, I don't think they're attacking us. And it's like, what? I don't know what was going through Goodwin's. Like, is he like, I'm caught already, so I'm going to try and like maybe reason with her about this? Maybe. Or am I trying to just like, she still has no idea, and so maybe I got her to think differently? Or I don't know what his rationale is in answering some of these questions. But then we finally see the switch up there when they're talking, and he's like, no, we're taking the good people. The kids are fine. Oh, that person wasn't a good person, or this person was on the list. And it's in that moment of where Ana Lucia is like, oh, you piece of shit. Like, I'm done with you. Like, I'm done with this conversation. You're not giving me anything. But the lead up to this is really questionable of why Goodwin all of a sudden, like, again, like, did he feel like he was caught and then would maybe try and reason with her because they have kind of bonded for these couple, like, 27 days? Or what was the rationale behind that? Because if I'm trying to, like, be incognito, I'm not trying to be like, I don't think they're attacking us. Yes, they are attacking us. How dare they, people?
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Yeah, I don't think they're too bad. Come on.
Right. I don't know where Goodwin was at with that. But we do see Ana Lucia lunge at him. They get into a scuffle. They are thrown down the mountainside. And it just so happens that Ana Lucia gets the last laugh because she turns around with that spike and goes right into Goodwin, which we do see from and found. We see that Echo and Jen have walked up on Goodwin.
Yeah. It was, it felt like, I don't know if Final Destination is the right term, but like, I guess someone just like falling into a death like that, like it just felt that way. So it was pretty funny or pretty interesting how like that just ended up happening.
That's a brutal way to go.
Yeah.
That's a big stick to have go through your chest.
Yeah.
Right. Also, just because, like, why not? No, I'm just kidding. I won't do it.
You can do it about a bad guy. Just don't do it about innocent people.
He was just doing his job, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Anna returns and she's like, we're safe now, we're good. I love that they all kind of go, shit, Anna really is crazy, but I guess we're okay. Like, that's kind of like how I'm viewing their facial expression when they come back, because they're like, where's Goodwin? She's like, we're safe, and she just walks away.
Yeah. And
they were already starting to be like, she's not feeding the guy, she's like wanting to kill him. It's like they're scared but grateful, I guess is the best way to describe it. Like, can you imagine somebody like taking off with somebody with the radio, coming back without that person, and you're like, don't even mention it. You're like, oh, we're safe. Like, killed him. He was coming after us. Nothing. She gives nothing. She's just like, we're safe, and walks away. I'd be like,
I'm scared.
Hi, I have questions. So I don't know. It just is an interesting moment here. We also see on day 41 now, so this is day 27, we've got a huge gap here. We go straight to day 41 where, of course, my man Boone re-enters. I love that they start to piece all of our things together now that we know from our side, but to see their side as well. We see this is also kind of an interesting situation of where we saw that, like, Rose says to Jack, like, because Jack's like, well, they were in the tail section. They're all dead. And she's like, they're probably thinking that about us, which we see in Lucia, like, there's no survivors. This is our life here. But you have Bernard, who's obviously wanting to be hopeful, but, like, he has straight up terror. Like Michael mentioned, Rose is so sure of it, but, like, Bernard, definitely not. We see that after this happens, we have Ana Lucia go off to the water where she sits down and starts crying, and Echo comes up. When this man walks into a room, though, he's like, he does not scream teddy bear to you. Like, we've seen many times throughout this little, like, 48 days where he just is standing there and you're like, good God, this man's intimidating. And so he walks up and she's like, what are you looking at? And he starts talking, and this is where she says, you waited, you're talking. And he's like, it's been 40 days. She's like, you waited 40 days to talk? And he's like, you waited 40 days to cry. And they kind of have this very sweet moment between the two where he's very comforting in this moment. It was like, I don't know if he was always planning on waiting the 40 days, like if it was that reference to the temptation of Jesus for him, or if this was just like, it just presented his moment. Like, what if this would have happened on day 39 or day, I don't know, Echo, like, let me know. But regardless, it's just a very sweet moment between these two because they've been the hard asses, the leaders of this group. Again, we've seen it take its toll on Jack and things like that as well. So, I mean, yeah, I just think this is a really beautiful moment.
I think that's my favorite moment of the episode. Like, I absolutely do think that he was doing 40 days of silence very deliberately. Yeah, I think that's what he was, and it just happened to work out. Yeah, I guess. Fate on the island, I guess. And yes, seeing Anna break and that line, like, you waited 40 days to cry, and when he like comforts her, it's like she's very reluctant, and it's like not a super tender embrace. It's quite like, I don't know, I can't describe it, but it's just very sweet. One thing I wanted to mention on the Boone thing, I think it's also just an added layer of tragedy that, you know, Boone was in this plane and the radio starts and he hears voices. He's risking his own safety because he thinks he's getting rescue, and ultimately we see that it was all just for nothing. There was no connection to the outside. He was chatting to people also on the island. He died for not rescue.
Right, and this was right before tragedy hit. So
yeah, thanks to John Locke. Also, we see just a few days later, we see them on the beach, and lo and behold, Jin washes up, obviously, because this is after the raft has been exploded. Also, how Jin did not drown is a miracle, but hey, the island, the fate of the island. But then I love that they kind of bring in this montage, if you will. It's like, really, there's nothing happening, but it's just like clip after clip after clip, and then we get a break where Anna's like, hit me, and Echo's like, okay. And then they throw her into the pit. And then it's just like, it's these pieces all the way up into them climbing the ravine and all these things up until Michael's least favorite, but my favorite moment of the thing, we get to see Shannon die again. Thank you, Lost, for that. But again, leaves us on this. We now see Saeed very upset. Like, before it was like heartbreak. Now he's pissed. Like, Michael even brought it up. He's like, I do not want to be looked at like that by Saeed.
No.
And Anna Lucia going, oh, shit. But we do, this kind of brings you up to that moment, Jake, where you were like, how come they didn't hear, like, the screaming and whatnot? Because then you do hear Michael go, what was that? Like, there was a lot of chaos happening. And
yeah.
There was the whispers as well at the same time as the raid. So, yeah, it was just a chaotic scene.
I saw that now. I think I was trying to see where the other perspective was and then actually seeing what happened from the other side. Then I'm like, oh, okay, that's why.
I did not bring this up in the last podcast because I knew that we were going to hear whispers again, and I wanted to see if you picked up on it. Jake, did you hear anything in the whispers?
I didn't. I haven't been able to. The only time I picked up when I was rewatching season 1 with my parents, and in Sawyer's episode Outlaws or Confidence Man, one of the two, where it's all
Outlaws,
Outlaws, where it's going to come back around. I noticed that on a rewatch, but other than that, I've not picked up on whispers.
So I kind of already filled you in on what this whisper says in the last podcast, and I purposely put it in there knowing that we were going to talk about it again, but I wanted you to have the moment too, if maybe you heard me say it, if then you would pick it up in the whispers. Michael, do you know what the whispers say?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. I don't think so.
So we had Boone tell Shannon, death sucks. The whispers, as Shannon is going to die, say dying sucks.
Really? I don't think I knew that either.
Yeah, you can hear it.
Episode for me.
Yeah, you can hear it more clear in this episode than you can in the other one, which is why I didn't bring it up in the last. I wanted to see if you guys could hear it this time. So you can hear it way more clearly in this one. And really, like, it's very prominent right before she shoots Shannon. And you can clearly make out dying sucks. That's why I wanted to wait. But again, like, these whispers, and Jake, when I say this was not my first watch and I picked up dying sucks. This is rewatch after rewatch after rewatch, and I'm like, wait.
It's crazy. I mean, I picked up more things on my rewatch with my parents than I would have otherwise. Like, stuff from Outlaws, stuff from Numbers. Like, I picked up so much more.
And now they're going to be picking up stuff when they rewatch because they're ahead of you.
Yes. Shout out to my parents with that.
You got them addicted too.
Yes.
It's easy to do, though. This show's amazing.
It's like heroin.
Yes.
Don't tell Charlie. No, but I mean, it's funny. I'm used to trying to get people addicted to stuff like Survivor, but yeah.
Well, instead it's Lost.
Yeah, that is fun.
So yeah, I mean, that was the end of it. Again, poor Michael has to suffer through Shannon dying again. I just love every moment of it. So that is the end of the episode. They again leave us on another cliffhanger. Like, well, you just did this to us last week. We were supposed to find the continuation, but we did not. So we're sadly kind of stuck back where we are again. So leading into favorite and least favorite characters, this is going to be a kind of a more trickier one because we don't really have many characters in this moment.
Yeah. Well, favorite, I already talked about him, Mr. Echo. Echo's definitely there. I love the character of T'Challa in the MCU with Chadwick Boseman's portrayal, and it just reminded me of that. So that's for favorite, and then least favorite. Oh, this is tough. I'll say Goodwin just for being a creep, but
He's a good character though.
yeah, just well acted and everything.
He's like Ethan, man, he's so good, but you're such an asshole.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody else where I'm like, I hated this character in this episode. So, I mean, I could have said Nathan, but I'll go Goodwin.
I think it's interesting that I don't think I realized until watching this episode how often our least favorite characters are based in the flashbacks. And then now we have this episode where they're all on the island, and it's really difficult because
it is.
I feel like they did a great job with everyone in this episode. I agree, Mr. Echo, 100% best character of the episode. He's amazing. He's so fascinating, so intense, amazing performance, just interesting character. I love Mr. Echo, hence hashtag. My least favorite, I'm going to go with Nathan, just because, of the characters. I guess we got the least from him, and he wasn't really helping himself out. But yeah, it's a solid episode where there's no real obvious least favorite, and even Goodwin as the villain is, really fascinating.
Yeah, Kristin.
My favorite's gonna be Sawyer in the 5 seconds that we saw him. No, just kidding. Love that man. I just have to mention him. Also, that they didn't refilm that. If you didn't, I'm assuming Jake, you were aware of that, but they didn't refilm that for this episode. They just used that.
I assumed so. It seemed like it was just used old footage.
Yeah, most definitely. You guys did already mention Echo, and I do feel like Echo for sure is deserving of that, and he was very closely going to be my number one last episode. So I am going to definitely throw him as the shout out, but since you guys already picked him, I want to give somebody else some love. And that's going to be Libby. Like, Libby kind of jumped into action. She's like kind of like our Rose or our son over here of like, she fixes the leg really quick. She's like helping with the kids. She's like doing her part and, doing all of the things. So I think she's kind of like our Rose or son, if you will, over here, and deserves a shout out. So since you guys had already got Echo taken care of.
Yeah.
Least favorite character. Generic random dude with a list that steals kids. That's who's going to be my least favorite.
Stealing my whole gimmick.
I did. Well, you didn't use it, so I was like, I'll use it.
I haven't used it in a while, yeah.
You haven't. So, generic shambles dude with a list that stole kids. There you go.
Generic shambles dude.
Episode rankings. Michael, what's our top 10?
Yeah, I
it could.
This time I pulled the top 10 up because I thought there could be an argument made here. We have, from 1 down, Exodus, Walkabout, Orientation, Man of Science, Man of Faith, The Pilot, Part 1 and 2, Do No Harm, Confidence Man, All the Best Cowboys Have Daddy Issues, Deus Ex Machina, and In Translation.
Okay. So for season 2, I'm going to put this number 1. I think so interesting and fascinating, and I loved getting to tie things together. And then for top 10, I'll probably say 4. I think I'm going to give it 4. I think, again, it's so interesting. I think it belongs with like those great episodes from season 1. So
I know where he's gonna go because I agree with you that it should be number 1. I'm gonna have my thoughts too, but I know where Michael's struggling here. So, Michael, you go first, unless you want more time to thought process this.
Yeah, you go.
So, when you said number 1 for season 2, I 100% agree with you on that. And there's reasons why I don't know if I'll actually place it there. So for me, the reason why I 100% agree is it's something that we have not really seen. This is like, we got 48 days in it, and it's kind of like what I've brought up and what I look for in an episode of like, do we really, like, did we get a full motion here, you know? And I feel like, yeah, did we have a ton of questions on it? They still were able to wrap up 40 days very, like, solidly. But if you're looking at where we are at already right now with Man of Science, Man of Faith, Adrift, and Orientation, those are all three very solid that we placed very high in our, well, not Adrift, but Orientation and Man of Science. Very high, not even just breaking top 10, they are very high in the top 10. For the other 48 days, when I look at breaking the top 10 for that, I don't know if it's strong enough to break that, so then it couldn't be strong enough to place in number 1 for season 2. So I agree with you that it's a very strong episode, but if we're looking at where Orientation and Man of Science, Man of Faith are, I will have to put it number 3 then.
That makes sense. I like both those episodes too. So it's.
But I think it does break 10, which sucks because I love In Translation so much. But I feel like, what was number 9, Michael?
Deus Ex Machina.
I don't know if it breaks.
Ironically, we're talking about the episode where Boone fell through the plane,
where he
and
talks to
then
them.
the one where we hear him falling down the plane.
Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily think, I mean, I hate even taking In Translation off, but if I was going to, I think I would maybe put it right there at 10. I don't know if it's enough. Like, we do still have 5 million. We were talking about how many questions already just in this podcast that I don't know if I have enough to put it over Boone's fateful episode. Yeah, I think I would, if I'm going to break top 10, I'm going to put it at 10, and then I want to put it at 3 for 2. That's where I'm at.
For once, literally every word you said was exactly what I was gonna say. Like I was really struggling with. I know, right? Like I was really struggling because it's a fantastic episode, but we've said like all of these top 10 episodes are. I think Orientation, everything with Jack and Locke in that episode. Why do you find it so hard to believe? Why do you find it so easy? It's never been easy. Like that was just an all-timer. I think I could argue it's better than Man of Science, Man of Faith, but I agree. I feel like it's better placed slightly lower down in the top 10. I could maybe argue above Deus Ex Machina because the fallout from the plane is like Do No Harm is that next episode, and that one's higher.
Higher,
like,
yeah.
The fallout from Boone.
I could agree with that too. I just don't know if we got enough for me. But yeah, I would be solid to move it up too.
Yeah, I'd be somewhere like 9, 10.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I understand that. So where would the average put it?
Where were you going?
I
So
did
we have 1 in season 2, so that would probably put it at 2 then.
2 for season 2 overall. I did 4 for top 10 episodes. So I think 4 and like 2 9s.
Probably puts it at what, 8?
Yeah, 7 or 8.
Just below Confidence Man, knocks down All the Best Cowboys Have Daddy Issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I was debating, but yeah, I agree.
All right.
Yeah, this is a difficult one to rank.
These
These episodes are great.
Yeah. Also, can we timestamp the moment that Michael said he completely agreed with me, because that will never happen again?
Yeah.
See, Michael and I do love each other, guys.
Very occasionally, yeah.
Very rare.
Yeah, after last episode, Kristin went up to the podium for the eulogy for Shannon and then just crapped on her instead.
In a shirt covered in her blood.
I did. I showed up in her blood. I did. I actually borrowed locks.
Oh my god. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe to us. We are so excited to continue doing this, and your support would mean everything. So with that, we will see you next time on the Tribe of Nerds.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Tribe of Nerds After Jake, the spoiler section of Lost. If you've not seen Lost in its entirety, get out. like we spoil everything, so move it while you're moving it, like, comment, subscribe, all the things, and get out. All right, you should be out. Okay, so the other 48 days. Finally, we get some tailies in information there. I want to jump to Goodwin really quick because he's a huge thing here. And you brought up being the close proximity and whatnot. In season 3, when we mentioned it in the last spoiler, when the plane breaks apart, we see Ben telling them, "Did you see where the plane lands?" And he pulls Goodwin and he's like, "Yeah, probably in the water." He's like, "If you run, you can make that shore in an hour." So we do know that it's somewhat close, but did he ever say anything to Ethan of like how long it would take him to get to their beach? I don't know if he did.
Don't think so. Yeah, so I do think it's just been one of those things where the fuselage people have got luckier that they're further away.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the tailies got screwed.
Screwed royally. It is also interesting though, because did they come the first night and just take the big honking dudes? Like, no list, or did they have a list too for them? Like, because it's how many times did Goodwin leave and not get caught by giving them lists? That's crazy.
Yeah, because Echo kills those 2 people and they had nothing on them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seems like the list came in later. So maybe it was like maybe those people were killed. I don't know. Maybe that wasn't a take and a more.
Well, they took the other 3.
Of a let's take out the threats here.
Yeah, I mean they did take the other 3,
them.
so
took them away and killed them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to see for sure. And then we do know we see in I think it's season 3 or 4 maybe where Ben is just toying with Juliet at this point, because we know that Juliet's another, by the way, if you're in the spoiler section, you better know that. Her and Goodwin were hooking it up, and Ben was in love with Juliet, and he takes her out to show the body. He's so horrible. He's so mean.
You're mine.
Right. He's so bad. He's so horrible. But we see right before that, he's like, Goodwin's because she's like, get Goodwin out after what happened to Ethan, because we know that Ethan has died at this point. And he's like, well, no, Goodwin's making a case for Ana Lucia. I don't know what he sees in her. Again, just toying with poor Juliet. He's so fucked up. But yeah, we see that he was making a case for her too. Like, I wanted to so bad be like, that's why maybe he was talking to Ana Lucia the way he was. I don't think they're attacking us, because he wanted her to join them kind of situation. But yeah, interesting for sure.
Yeah, that whole episode with Ben is so creepy. He's the most awkward dinner date ever, where he's just planting seeds, and yeah, not Ben's best luck.
He's diabolical.
Speaking of others, I want to talk about the glass eye, because the obvious connection that we can make with the glass eye is we're going to get Mikhail Eye Patch Dude this season too, or next season. This season, I think we see him this season, right? And then we meet him.
No, I think it's season 3.
Oh yeah, because they see him down in the Pearl Station with Nikki and Paolo, right?
Yeah. Oh well, that is the season. Then you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna get Mikhail. I guess that's his glass eye. That's the only thing that makes.
But his eye, there's nowhere to put it though. I guess
you just put it in.
Yeah, I guess.
I think
his is kind of flush though with the face. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, no, that's the only explanation I have for the glass eye as well. So, but because again, it's funny that Jake's like, I guess we'll figure that out, and it's like, no, you won't. Just like the arrow, never again. I was fine telling him that because there's no reason to even connect it. But I also wanted him to bring up that there are more stations. So
yeah. And I think, it's easy to get hung up on certain things that aren't going to be a part of the big picture, and part of what's great about leading them through first time. If something isn't going to be an ongoing mystery, we can give him the context that we have so that he's caught up with us, rather than dwelling on something that's ultimately not going to come back around. So yeah, I think that's fair to kind of give him the information that's going to help him piece things together as best he can.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those that they gave us a little bit, because we obviously know that they were like, oh, their hatch is leading up to this, when we were seeing those little pieces with Jen in them. But yeah, not something to harp on for sure. But I don't think they ever mentioned the arrow in the flashbacks either, though, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I don't remember it ever coming up again. It's just a very basic station. Like, I don't think there's a
there
major
didn't seem to be a
purpose
lot
to it.
going on there.
One thing we are going to get is inside the Bible is hollowed out, and that is where we're going to get a section of the tape that was missing from the orientation tape that Locke and Jack watch. So we get that scene where Echo and Locke, who were just such great characters together, like that relationship is so interesting to me. Seeing them make the full tape and watch that together, like,
I know season 2 and 3 are just so amazing. But yeah, I mean, other thing I wanted to bring up, I brought up this like theory about Kristin, and we were bringing up that this could be where the Man in Black got the body. But Michael, you were going to bring up something.
Yeah, pretty much that. Maybe I've already talked about it, but just my theory was that the Man in Black had already been, I assumed, to the caves to take Kristin's body away as like a form of manipulation. Like, hey, I'm going to take this body, bury it, and sneak up on Jack and freak him out. But yeah, maybe it's something that ended up at the tail section. I'm very curious about that. I've never noticed it before. I'll have to go back
never
and watch.
Either. Yeah, it's definitely something I'm like wanting to like dive deeper in, because that would make so much more sense. I mean, because I think you did bring that up in the spoiler back when it happened, is like he obviously probably took it away to manipulate him. But yeah, but this is like a whole nother fun thing.
Yeah. And it's also interesting that the monster has been very prevalent with our group, but despite everything they've been going through with the others, the monster wasn't really an issue. I don't think they'd ever. In fact, we're going to see Mr. Echo ultimately see the monster, and it's definitely the first time he's encountered that. So for some reason, the monster tends to be hanging around in our main area. And you know what? I don't know if there's any candidates in the tail section crew.
I was just about to bring that up. I think that's why the monster's over there, is because the tail section didn't have
these people are expendable to him.
Yeah,
he doesn't need them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, very interesting. Which is the candidates where that's going to be a whole nother ball game trying to explain this one to Jake to be like what. We already mentioned that he has kind of brought it up that Desmond would see them all, but it's not. It's Jacob. Also, it was Jacob's birthday yesterday. Not Jacob, but the guy who played Jacob. But anyway.
Yes, I saw that.
Yes. So, yeah, other than that, I mean, this episode led up to everything we've already kind of seen, minus just those few things. But like we mentioned in the last spoiler section, this really like steamrolls everything into this like massive season 2. So excited. Michael, I'm so sorry you're going to get one more Shannon dying next episode, but then, then you'll be free.
One more and then we're done, yeah.
Then you'll be free. You'll be free of me. But yeah, so, but that'll be interesting too, because I mean, we know that Jack, like, you know, because Echo comes out, he's like, Ana Lucia didn't mean to, and he's like, wait, Ana Lucia, so it's all these nice connections, and where Jen does come back, and God help me when Michael and Vincent get back together, it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot.
That's all in the next episode, right?
I know.
All those reunions.
I know. Can't do it. So stay tuned with us. Like, comment, subscribe. If you're commenting a spoiler, please put spoiler and then like 5 million spaces so Jake doesn't even have a chance to read it. And then message us if you want us to talk about something. If you have questions about something you saw or that we mentioned, let us know. We'd be happy to talk about them. But thank you guys again for watching with us and hanging out. So with that, we'll be back for the next time. Bye.